We'll move right into our creating a workable workforce plan, which is the topic of this particular session. And so we've spoken about, the progression. We need to be big and bold. How do we get there? How do we speak in big and bold terms about the industry that we work in and the jobs that we do? And how do we create a big and bold culture that's welcoming and open to supporting employees and their happiness? And it matters. I'm sorry. Mental health is one of the biggest issues now. Certainly, pushed forward to the forefront from the pandemic. I'll tell you right now, I lost my mind a couple of times in what I call the uni year. I don't even know at this point what year it was. Um, so, you know, then of course we had our leadership panel, which is about, what can corporations and industry do, and being big and bold and creating a pipeline for women. But we have to have a pipeline to begin with. We have to have people even remotely interested in joining the printing industry. And that is what we are going to be speaking about today. So we are being joined by Kelly Mallozzi, who's girl number 2 at Girls Who Print, and also the principal at Success in Print, and Jules VanSant, who is the chairperson of the Print and Graphics Scholarship Foundation, also known as PGSF. I'm sure you've all seen those initials flying around, and they do a great job on social media, and a partner in Bubble and Hatch, which is a marketing agency. So Kelly, let's just start with you. Can you tell everybody a little bit about you and what your work at Success in Print?
Yes, thank you. So I'm going on 30 years in this industry. I spent the vast majority of my life in sales and sales management, and I consider being girl number 2 as one of the most important things that I am and that I do in this industry. My big push, our big push, Deborah and I, is mentorship this year. So I am the mentor matcher of, we have hundreds of people that have signed up to be mentors and get mentors. So this is front and center of everything that we're doing these days. And I have also been really fortunate that I've been traveling around a lot to a lot of the different affiliates, organizations, and speaking to groups of people. It is so glorious to be back in person. And it is so wonderful to be back in rooms with people who are our fellow geeks in the printing industry and love of print. And so I'm really excited to be talking about this particular topic, which I know you have some questions, Deb, but really talking about our future and the workforce and what printing companies could do or need to do or aren't doing,
right,
to plan for the future.
Thank you so much, obviously, for everything you do for Girls Who Print. And just want to mention there are no membership dues to join Girls Who Print or the mentorship program. It's completely free. You could be from any segment of the industry. You could be from anywhere on the planet. We're getting actually better at matching people closer to in their time zones as we get more people involved. And certainly as we start branching out to Girls Who Print, regions and locals and other countries, it will help a lot with that. So thank you so much. Jules, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your work at PGSF and Bubble and Hatch?
Absolutely. So nice to see everybody. I know quite a few people on the call, and some I virtually met, and look forward to meeting you live and in person. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be part of this industry. I've been part of this industry so many years. But I've done everything from working in printing companies to working in ad agencies to having my own agencies to running an affiliate organization for 13 years in the industry. And 4 years ago, starting Bubble and Hatch with my business partner, Jill. We do primarily work in the print and paper industry and affiliated nonprofits. So I have a unique perspective on a number of different companies. I've watched the industry evolve. I've watched people go kicking and screaming, and I've watched people elevate and rise to the challenge and opportunity. So I'm very excited and passionate about it. Some of my roles as far as mentoring and encouraging the next generation, include being the chair now for the 3rd year of the Print and Graphic Scholarship Foundation. It's a scholarship foundation that gives over $550,000 a year to students, as well as now this year we started giving $100,000 in grants to programs, to educators and to schools, technical schools, universities, to try to encourage those programs to be around, to bring in the community, try to create some greater opportunity to get employers, parents, students, and educational institutions together and create a stronger pipeline. I'm on the Cal Poly Advisory Board for the graphic communication, so I'm plugged in there as well. So I feel pretty fortunate, and this is a passionate conversation for me.
Excellent. And we also hooked up at the America's Print Show as well, where you had a really great workforce development panel. You had a lot of support there. So, I just want to keep this momentum going and certainly tack on, as well as get a hold of some of that money, Jules VanSant. I want it.
Well, again, we give out a lot of money.
I know. I'm just saying, I'm going to get some. Okay. I watch the news. I admit it. Okay. I watch the news, and on the news, what I see is that the United States has the highest rate of job creation and the lowest rate of unemployment in decades. It's a fact. Okay. I've had many discussions with companies looking for workers who take the position that people just don't want to work. But that isn't actually backed by stats or facts. And my response, unfortunately, is they may not want to work for you, and there are so many reasons that can contribute to that. So Kelly, you have literally been presenting on this. So why does the printing industry have a workforce issue?
Wow, I don't even know where to start. I have so many notes here, but I think as we think about younger people and what they're looking for in the workplace, there are some things that printing companies maybe are not doing that they could be doing. And I'm talking about things like flexibility. We have spoken so much about culture. So I feel like a lot of that stuff has already been said, but specifically to that, one thing that I think printers could be thinking about is, what does advancement look like? How does a young person know that they have a future? What are they thinking about 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? So that's one thing. My understanding, and from doing some studying about younger people, is they want their work to have meaning. So how do we make putting ink on paper seem like it has meaning, right? And so there are a lot of companies doing this really well, but we could be thinking about how we help our communities, what kinds of nonprofits we're working with, what do we do from a giving standpoint, and how are we making our communities look more like the general population, right? We're definitely talking about diversity and things like that. There are some more specific things I think about how we participate on social media, right? If a 22-year-old wants to know about you, they want to look at your website, they want to know what you're doing on social media. And so if your website looks like it's 1997, they may have some real concerns there. So generally speaking, I think it is time to not act as if everybody who has a job is lucky, right? Like, no, they're not lucky to have a job working for you. You are lucky to attract them and have them make the decision to come and work for you and with you. And that's a pretty big mindset shift that I think needs to start happening, that this is a two-way street, and that employees are interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing them. And so making your place a place to grow and live and be a human, just like we heard about during the culture discussion, we've got, a lot of us have some work to do there.
Thank you so much. Jules, same question. Why does the printing industry have a workforce issue when we have all these open positions?
Kelly made a lot of really solid points there. To piggyback on that, part of it is that culturally, as we've talked about, we don't look like them. And if you don't look like where they feel they're going to be welcome, they don't want to show up. They're not going to show up. If you're going to hire them, and in a very short period of time, they're going to figure out that that's not the place they want to be. So set yourself up for success prior to that, and be mindful of that. It's a mirror thing, right? And as right now, as we've talked about, the mirror is not reflective of what the next generation is. We compete for pay rates with tech companies. A lot of them, students going to universities are being recruited and they're being paid more. And so coming up in a company with more flexibility, but also more efficiency in how your workflow goes through, means that maybe you don't need as many people, but you can hire the better people. So that's something, there's a lot of yin and yang go on. You cannot continue to staff the way you've staffed in the past and expect to have a successful future with the next generation. So, put a little sparkle on it, put some lipstick on that pig. Okay.
Yeah. Really fantastic points. So, I do have the honor of, or was, prior to pandemic, I was going to a lot of schools, and hopefully that will start up again. And one thing I notice is that there's plenty of people in those classes, and there are predominantly women in those classes when I go there. But somewhere, in between graduating, they don't make it into the printing industry, even though that's what they're actually studying. And Jules, you totally hit the nail on the head that the printing industry starting level salaries are nowhere in comparison to the, let's just say anything digital, anything electronic on that side, as well as everything you said about, the aesthetics, which we'll get to in a second. But I'm really curious about this because I have been to student scholarship award ceremonies. Some of the students don't show up. I'm going to start getting pissed about this now. Some of them don't show up. Some of them take their money and you never hear from them again. You're giving away giving away is probably a bad way of saying it. You are awarding deserving people of a chance to get some financial help from you. I want to understand, and to help all the people out there who are donating money to also help this. Where is the damn oversight? Why aren't we saying, if we give you this money, you have to work in the printing industry? And please.
So I'll tell you that it's a very important part of our organization at Print and Graphic Scholarship Foundation that we do vet our applicants to encourage them to be in programs and to be studying and to report back to us annually what they're learning and specifically how it is intersecting with the print industry. I will also share with you that I have 4 new board members coming on, and 3 of them were supposed to be on here, and I know that Jessica is. I don't know if Andrea and Emily are, but those were 3 of the 4 that are young women who have entered our industry, who are going to be board members and are going to help us continue to elevate our ability to attract and bring those different voices. We've had wonderful people in the past help to keep us on point, but the print industry has changed. And we need those people that are new and see the future in the print industry to help us to get that message out there, and then work with the schools to make sure they're attracting and that they have the tools to teach those students and the conduit with the employers. So there's a lot of work that a lot of people on this call I know are doing, and we just are part of that solution, and we continue to evolve that. And that's a leadership thing, right? It is on everyone's part.
Okay, so in staying in big and bold, I'm going to have to push back on you a little because I didn't hear any oversight. You give somebody money, they deserve it. How do you make sure that they actually make it
They get back to us. We talk to them every year during school, and we talk to them post-graduation, and we continue to engage them after the fact. And that is something with our database. There's a lot of technology that we've incorporated into the foundation in the last 3 years so that we can do that in a more efficient and effective way.
And then do you find out all the reasons why they didn't follow through? And are there any penalties? Do they have to give the money back? Is it?
No, we can't. We'll never ask for the money back.
Okay,
You
well,
know, but we can
world.
only give them the money. But you need to remember that we have people that enter the industry that don't go to school initially to go for printing. Okay, I mean, that's just, again, to the point of a lot of people have made, people don't know that this is really a viable industry. So it's important that the programs get supported so that they can tell the story. So if students go in for a design and all of a sudden they get exposed to print and they see how cool and how amazing it is, and the career path, as Kelly brought up, you have to show them where they're going to go. Then we have a good story and we can continue to grow that. But there is no guarantee, and we cannot sit there and go back and go, oh, sorry. We can say if they change their major, no, we're not going to renew your scholarship. And we do that.
Okay,
so
that's fair.
definitely.
I'll take that as at least something that somebody's doing to make sure that,
Oh,
because
yeah,
I can
for
tell
sure.
you at the event I went to, those students just got mailed their checks. They didn't even show up, Jules, to
Well, and our money goes to the schools. Our
Uh,
money doesn't go to the students directly. It all goes direct to
Okay.
the schools.
Okay, that actually makes me feel better too. And by the
Yeah.
way, I think three of your board members are on
They're
the chat.
here.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
talking.
Say hello, the
Um,
chat ladies.
They are.
Awesome.
Okay,
I'm
so
excited.
we've just reputation management in big and bold terms. The printing industry has an image problem. It's old, it's antiquated, it's dying, yada 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 yada. On top of that, I don't know if anyone's been to some print shops lately, but aesthetically, they're not the most inviting. Customer areas are usually cared for. There's great technology in there. There's a brand new couch. You're not sitting in the same chair that Ed died from emphysema in 1986 in the lobby. There's no painted cinder block walls. I mean, I'm describing a lot of print shops here. Cubes that are in disarray, bathrooms that are, I'm just saying, it is not, to your point, Jules, about the culture, about what we're dealing with now. And we have to adapt to these generations coming up. Not only do they outnumber us, but we can't function without them because, I mean, it's been a little, okay, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. In big and bold terms, if you look at like industry new trade stuff, there's a lot of people dying out of the industry right now. There's a lot of death announcements, and it actually started scaring me the other day because I'm like, oh my God, like it's happening. Like the boomers are now at that place, and the Gen X children or managers are taking over, and then behind them are the millennials who are in their 40s. They are not kids, but the Gen Zers are the ones that we really need to come in there. So we are a far cry from the dream of working at a Google campus, or working at a high-tech manufacturer with global offices, which are very enticing. So what are your thoughts on this? Like, do print shops have a chance of attracting younger
Yes.
workers if they do not address their decor and their image? Going to start with Kelly.
No, they don't. And it goes beyond that too. Because here's the thing, you can make it pretty yourself, right? Like you have the equipment, you have the technology, you can make your places beautiful. I've got one client down in North Carolina. They have turned the one entire suite is all space themed. Deborah, you would love it.
Ooh, I'm loving it.
They have created their customer experience room now is set up like a bar like out of The Simpsons. It's super cool. So yes, these are things that people are going to walk in and they're going to go, oh, I get it. Right. But it can go even further than this. I have one client, she likes to sit outside. Like, let this young woman sit outside and do her job. She's in sales, right? So you could even beautify your outdoor spaces. Yes, you might not be able to use them year round, but we have to be flexible enough to understand what it is that a young person might want and give it to them. Be willing to do that. Maybe it's their hours, maybe it's where they work. But there are just a lot of things that we have to do. My perception would be, look at your place with a fresh pair of eyes. What if you were a 22-year-old, what would you think walking through this place? And then start a list of whether it's real stuff like paint and carpet, flooring, that kind of stuff, or can we just make it cooler?
Yeah, or just get a focus group. If you have anybody in your family who's anywhere between 18 and 25, ask them to for a few of their friends. Don't let the kids or the relations come. Just say, we'll buy you some pizza, come over. We just want you to walk around and then sit in this room and just tell us the truth about everything in here, and see what they say, and know that that is going to pretty much be the opinion of the impression that they get. And then of course, if there's somebody more prone to wanting to work there, they might have a different way of feeling about the equipment and stuff like that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a welcoming environment. Jules?
So you can put lipstick on the pig, but then you have to put the proof in the pudding. And what you need to do is you need to make sure that when they show up, they feel included. That's the DEI part of this right now. Diversity creates more success because you're reflective of who your current and future customers are. You need the people that come into your organization to feel like they can make a difference. The way that the print industry can compete with the mega corporations that have all the cool campuses is to say, you can come in and make a difference. We're a smaller organization where when you have a voice, it's heard, and you can have an impact every day on our customers and on our company culture. You can help evolve and grow us, and you can see it directly. And in a large corporation, you can't. So I talk a lot about how, like Kelly said, people want to make a difference. Let people know, be very transparent about that. Christine's talking about having affirmations around. Have your vision and your culture front and center so that they know, but then do it. You know, there's people that decorate, but then they don't follow through. So, you know, you can't bullshit.
Right.
Okay.
No, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. You know, after all of that, there has to be a support system, but also I think it's really important what you just mentioned to emphasize that, you know, some of these job descriptions I see, I literally read them and I'm like, it sounds like, you know, you're in a penal colony or something. It just sounds like, you know, you're breaking rocks all day long and on the chain gang. It does not sound like you're part of a dynamic communications company that's changing the world, or, you know, creating customer engagement, or, you know, there are companies out there that create all this stadium art. And I mean, there's cool, obviously I'm getting excited because I get excited about the printing industry, but one of the things I think that we don't do is actually target the Gen Zers for the skills that they have.
Yeah.
And say, we actually need you. We have the printing under control. What we don't have under control is, what type of messaging would you respond to? What type of our social media, you know, it could be better. And we're hoping you can help us. You know, we're looking for somebody who can help us, you know, advise us on things like that. And giving a Gen Zer a role where not only do they understand how they're contributing to everything, but understand that their part of it is important to the success of the team. From my speaking with the educators, the college teachers, they say this is the best way to get them actually on board. You can't just say to them, do this because I said so. They'll be out of there. But if you say to them, this is the mission, this is the plan, and this is what we need you to do, and based upon what you do, this is how we can move forward from there. So altogether, great advice, great sessions. Thank you so much. If you, I know, Jules, you've been sticking links for PGSF in there. Please continue. If you have anything else to add to the chat, Kelly, you as well. We're a little behind schedule, but we're going to catch up now. So thank you so much for your time, Kelly and Jules. And